Good morning, this is Shelby Law with the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Monday, August 3rd, 2020. The fire potential impacts for the next couple of days are shown here. We're still expecting the hot and dry weather to continue for the next few days across the Great Basin. We also are expecting some gusty winds across southeast Idaho and into portions of northern Utah for this afternoon. On Tuesday, another hot and sunny day with possibly some breezy winds across the far south. And then on Wednesday, those winds will continue across the south, and we'll actually see some moisture move into the north and are expecting some dry thunderstorms across the central Idaho mountains. Yesterday was a pretty quiet day in terms of the weather, with virtually no precipitation and no lightning across the geographic area, just very hot and dry. Recent fire activity is shown here. We continue to see some larger fires pop up along that Utah-Nevada border, and then also along the Sierra front. Observed precipitation for the past 7 and 30 days is shown here. Over the past week or so, we did see some better storms move through southwest Idaho and up into western Wyoming and over the east central Idaho mountains there. But pretty dry across Nevada, southwest Utah, and even central and northeast Utah. For the past 30 days, we're looking at an even drier trend across much of Nevada, southwest and western Utah, northern Utah, and northeast Utah. So definitely some dry pockets out there, and that's where we're continuing to see some of our fire activity pick up. ERCs are on the upward trend under this very hot and dry air mass that we've been sitting in for the last couple of days. Got some stations out there above the 97th percentile there over southern Nevada and then over northwest Utah. We expect to see these values remain high for the next couple of days for sure. A closer look at the ERC charts for northeast Nevada is showing a very rapid increase over the past couple of days, where those ERCs are right at the historical maximums for the time of year. And then same trend over far western Nevada, where under this hot and dry air mass, we've really seen the ERCs just skyrocket over the past 4 or 5 days or so. And those values, once again, are right up near the historical maximums. Sagebrush live fuel moistures for a couple of sites in western Utah and southwest Nevada are shown here. Those values are near the all-time record lows as well for the past 20 or 30 years. Very dry sagebrush out there, particularly across western Utah and eastern Nevada. This morning's satellite imagery is showing that high-pressure ridge still dominating the picture over the Great Basin. This is what's brought that hot and dry weather. We are seeing a low-pressure trough trying to move into the Pacific Northwest here. That will bring some breezy winds to eastern Idaho and into northeast Utah today. Then as we watch this guy by Wednesday, we'll see some moisture move up into the central Idaho mountains. But still very hot and dry for much of the Great Basin, especially the eastern half of the Great Basin where the high pressure is kind of centered overhead. So for today, continued hot and dry across the geographic area. Brown dryness levels for much of the geographic area as well. No high risk for today. A closer look at those winds shows some gusts, maybe up to 25-30 miles an hour, possible over southeast Idaho, and a little bit breezy over the higher elevations of northern and northeast Utah. Minimum relative humidities are quite low over much of Nevada and Utah in the single digits, down to 4 or 5% across southern Nevada. It is very, very dry out there. More of the same is expected for Tuesday. With continued hot and dry temperatures for much of the geographic area. We may see some cooler temperatures begin to move in as this little trough makes its way onto the west coast here. Ahead of that trough, we will see the winds pick up across far southern Nevada, not quite to red flag criteria or high risk criteria anyway, but breezy picking up by Tuesday, with continued low relative humidities for Nevada and Utah. By Wednesday, that trough starts to strengthen and move into the Pacific Northwest. will bring some moisture up into Oregon and into Idaho on Wednesday. We do have high risk issued for some of those dry thunderstorms. They will be isolated up in the central Idaho mountains and southwest Idaho, so look for that for an increase in initial attack in combination with some winds out ahead of that trough strengthening by Wednesday across southern Nevada and southwest Utah. So we can see here those winds do pick up and expand a little bit, 30-35 miles an hour possible across southern Nevada and southwest Utah. And then further north, where these stronger red circles of increased wind speeds are, showing where we could see some of those drier thunderstorms. We may see some outflows from thunderstorms in northern California, and then over southern Idaho as well, and in the central Idaho mountains. This image on the right showing expected precipitation. This only goes through 0Z on Thursday, which is about 6 p.m. But we could see thunderstorms develop later than that and possibly into the overnight hours on Wednesday. And so it's not picking up just yet on the central Idaho mountains, but that should happen Wednesday overnight. 3-day precipitation totals are shown here. Really not looking for much in terms of precipitation, even with that moisture as it moves up into western and central Idaho. Those storms will be on the drier side. On Thursday, some lingering moisture across the north and northern Nevada associated with that trough may kick off another round of some isolated thunderstorms up there on Thursday. We'll be watching for that. And that chance for some moisture kind of hanging out still along southern Idaho, northern Nevada, northern Utah continues into Friday for possibly some isolated thunderstorms there. But generally, the dry pattern continues for especially much of southern Utah and southern Nevada. And then drying for Saturday and into Sunday. We'll see that trough lift off to the north and east, and we'll see return of the hot and dry conditions. 7-day totals, again, showing virtually no precipitation across the area, but possibly just some very light amounts in that Wednesday through Friday time frame as some of that moisture moves up associated with that trough in the northwest. But definitely on the lookout for dry thunderstorms, and definitely expecting some increased initial attack with any of those drier type thunderstorms. The extended forecast for August 10th through the 16th is calling for below normal temperatures across the central portion of the Great Basin, including Idaho, and below normal chances for precipitation region-wide. This concludes today's fire potential briefing. Please check back tomorrow for the latest updates.